Okay, let's dive in. Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive into your source material. Today, we're looking at reports about a pretty significant action by the U.S. government. It involves technology sales to China.
That's right. Yeah.
We've got
Sure.
various sources here, articles, notes, and they all seem to be pointing towards one particular development.
Mm.
So our goal, really, is just to unpack what these sources say happened, understand the details they provide.
And what's interesting here right off the bat is the specific kind of technology the reports focus on.
Yeah, that jumped out at me too. It wasn't like a general ban on selling computer chips or finished hardware, according to these reports.
Exactly. No, the sources, like the Financial Times piece you mentioned, they pinpoint software. And not just any software. It's something called electronic design automation, or EDA.
EDA. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the stuff used before the chip is actually manufactured, sort of the digital blueprints.
Precisely. Yeah, think of EDA as well, the incredibly sophisticated software suite engineers rely on. They use it to design the chip layouts, run simulations, verify everything works before you even think about production. It's absolutely core.
Foundational, really.
Foundational is a good word. And the sources really highlight this focus on the design tools themselves as being, quite notable.
And do the sources tell us who in the U.S. government actually made this call? Which agency?
Yes, they're pretty clear on that. The directive is reported as coming from the Commerce Department.
Okay, Commerce.
And digging it a bit deeper, the Financial Times article cites people familiar with the move, specifically naming the Bureau of Industry and Security, that's BIS. They're named as the part of Commerce that actually issued this order.
Got it. So Commerce, through BIS, tells certain companies,
Mhm.
okay, who were they telling and what exactly were they told to stop selling and to whom?
Right. So the sources state that U.S. firms, the ones making this electronic design automation software, were directed to stop selling that tech, specifically to Chinese groups.
Okay, stop sales to China.
Yeah. And the reports even name some of the big players likely affected. Companies like Cadence, Synopsys, also Siemens EDA is mentioned. These are major, major names in the EDA software world.
Right. So putting together what these sources are telling us, it looks like a directive came down from the U.S. Commerce Department's Bureau of Industry and Security. It targeted key U.S. companies. Cadence, Synopsys, Siemens EDA are named examples and told them to stop selling their crucial EDA software.
The design so
The
much.
design software, exactly, to China. The reports really frame this as a restriction hitting the design phase, the very beginning of the process.
And just to add context from the sources, this action was reported as taking place during the Trump administration. It seems aimed squarely at a critical upstream part of the whole semiconductor chain, basically, the ability to design the most cutting-edge chips in the first place.
Okay, so reflecting on the picture painted by your sources today, here's a final thought, something for you listening to consider. We've discussed how the U.S. Commerce Department, via BIS, reportedly directed U.S. firms, think Cadence, Synopsys, Siemens EDA, to halt sales of vital electronic design automation software to China.
The tools needed for semiconductor design.
Exactly. Given that this software is so fundamental, so essential for designing these complex chips, what does restricting access to the design tools themselves really imply? What does it suggest about controlling the pathway of technology development itself? Something to think about.